AITA for taking my kids to the beach alone instead of waiting for my husband.
Story 2. AITA for taking away my wife's car keys because she took away my TV.
Story 3. AITA for expecting a 50/50 split in chores now that I have a job. AITA for taking my kids to the beach alone instead of waiting for my husband. My husband is the type of person who doesn't ever switch off from work life, even while we're on vacation. It can be incredibly frustrating, but I've given up on trying to get him to change. During our vacation, we were going to take the kids to the beach, but my husband received an important work call from his brother just before we were supposed to leave. He told me it wouldn't take longer than 5 minutes, but after waiting for over 30 minutes with a 6-year-old who kept complaining about when we were going to leave, I decided to just take the kids down to the beach myself, as it was only a 15-minute walk. I would have told him we were leaving, but he had gone into the other room and closed the door, which is his way of telling me he doesn't want to be disturbed. Instead, I sent him a text that we would see him at the beach. He texted me back telling me to wait for him about 5 minutes later, but I didn't see it until we got to the beach, so when he got to the beach, he was upset with me. He said I should have waited for him since we had the whole day to spend at the beach, and he wanted to see the kids' faces when they first got here. AITA for going without him. Top 5 comments. 1. He wanted to see the kids' faces when they first got here. Nice attempt at guilt-tripping you there, but no. NTA. If he wanted that, he should have shut off the phone. 2. NTA. He initially told you it was going to be no longer than 5 minutes. He took over 30. He has no one to blame but himself. He either prioritizes his family while on vacation or he has to miss some important moments. 3. NTA. If he had wanted to see their faces when they first got to the beach, he could have actually made an effort to be there. It's incredibly rude to keep y'all waiting on him to enjoy your vacation. He needs to learn to prioritize his family, and if he can't do that, then he needs to figure out he doesn't have a right to be angry when the world doesn't stop just for him. 4. NTA. If he isn't going to take time when on vacation and put down his phone, he doesn't get to demand that everyone else wait on his terms for when they can have fun. He said 5 minutes, you waited 30. He was already in awe at that point. 5. NTA. My husband is similar and doesn't know when it's worth it to set boundaries. We paid for an expensive trip to the USVI last year, where our rental was high up on a beautiful hill and required a 4x4 rental. I put together the itinerary that accommodated for him getting off work by a certain time. He let his manager know so he could work on the local time zone schedule, log off by a reasonable time, and get to our booked activities. Manager said, "Cool, no problem." And then every night for a week straight it didn't happen. He would end up working until 9 p.m. local time without saying a word to his manager that he needed to go. They had horrible antiquated systems that made pulling data and running tools take an ungodly amount of time, hours to complete one task. There was only so much food in the place, so almost every night culminated in us being super hungry and irritable. One vehicle, so I couldn't just leave him behind. Remember, limited food in the actual rental. Booked activities we didn't show up for. The trip culminated in a huge fight, and that vacation memory was mostly negative and a waste of money. They fired him weeks later for not getting his tasks done on time. I wish I was joking. I'm still salty about the whole thing. I will never vacation with him again unless he takes the time off. Don't feel bad about not wasting your money and time and limiting memories for your children that you saved up for. In the future, you should either take off work or you have your own vacation with the kids.
Story 2. AITA for taking away my wife's car keys because she took away my TV. Throwaway. I have always spilt my ink 50-50 with my wife. She is religious Baptist, but I am not. This has never been a problem for us, until this summer when I got a large raise at my job and I started buying things that she claimed were greedy and consumerist. I just told her I'm using my share of the income and I can buy what I want. I thought that it was over, but last weekend I finally got a PS5 and bought a 65/8 Kelvin QLED TV. In total it was about $5,000. I was really excited to watch the Super Bowl with my friends on, and I'm hosting a little party this year, but my wife was furious. She thought it was a terrible decision and she didn't care I used my own money. When I came home from work on Monday, today's Thursday, my wife said she took away my TV. Sure enough, it was gone. I looked everywhere for it, but we have a modest 3-bedroom house, so who knows where it is now. I have been arguing with her for 4 days and she's not budging. So this morning I finally snapped. I took away her car keys and also removed her tires. I told her I'll do the grocery shopping and our kids will be fine since they ride the bus. But I am not giving her that car back until she gets me my TV. She is obviously furious, but the Super Bowl is in 3 days and I'll be damned if I'm letting her control what makes me happy. So, AITA. Top 5 comments. 1. NTA justified a H really. Yes, I accept thy downvotes. Your wife unilaterally made a decision about what I am assuming is fun money. What you did in retaliation was after asking her about it for 4 days. It's petty as hell, and I am here for it. 2. Esh, you two are not partners and you don't even appear to like each other. Do either of you have the ability to sit down and communicate like actual adults? You two are immature and incompatible and should really just divorce. 3. Esh, file for divorce already. You clearly have no respect for one another. Both of your actions are not the actions of a healthy, stable, mature relationship. Perhaps with some counseling or just different partners you'll be better. But this is a shit show. You might both be great people, but it's not showing, and if you keep this up you will not even be decent before much longer. 4. I am going to disagree with seemingly everyone and say NTA. Your wife is using her religion to control your choices. That is not okay. You are allowed to purchase luxuries for yourself if your obligations are taken care of. If your wife wears makeup, paints her nails, wears perfume, wears nice clothes, buys anything for herself, that can also be considered consumerist too. She can't expect you to live by her values in general, but especially if she is not doing so herself. A car costs more than a TV and PS5, so she should be happy to walk if it means she gets to live her principles. Right. Also, if you have separate finances, she extra does not get to dictate what you do and don't buy with your own money. You have no right to control what she does with her money, and the same applies to you. I also say NTA because talking to people this unreasonable in a calm, logical manner doesn't work, despite how much people fetishize that approach. Not everyone is reasonable, and your wife does not sound reasonable. If anyone genuinely thinks you're going to be able to reason with her religious beliefs, then bless their heart. At the same time, this is not a healthy situation if you've had to resort to hiding your wife's car keys. At minimum, I would insist on marriage counseling so a therapist can teach your wife how to eliminate her controlling tendencies and the two of you can learn how to communicate like adults. 5. H. I'm sorry, but this is ludicrous. You took her tires off of her car. Two married adults should not be feuding like this. This is some kid shit. Also, I'm concerned that your wife is accessing a pocket dimension and somehow hid a 65 TV in such a way that you can't find it in your house. It's not like that's a small object to hide.
Story 3. AITA for expecting a 50/50 split in chores now that I have a job. Me, female 28, and husband, male 34, have always split chores before we had our son. My country has the option for mothers to have a 2-year maternity leave, so we talked about how during these 2 years I would take care of the house, as in cooking, cleaning, and organizing things. The deal was that after I resume working, things would go back to us both splitting the chores. I started work a month ago. Our son will turn 2 in a few days. I decided to change jobs. I used to work in retail and it was exhausting, but I got lucky and found work as a translator for a company. A Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job, which is easy for me to do and the pay is good. My husband works as a salesman, still from 9 to 5, but I must admit his job is more stressful than mine. We started having issues as soon as I got back to work. He would not do anything around the house. I mean nothing. Maybe once in a while vacuum and that was it. He is a great dad, he is involved with our son, but he doesn't do anything more than that when he is at home. I, on the other hand, after I finish my work, need to go pick up my son from my mother's, cook, clean, feed the kiddo, put him to bed. I barely have any time left to have a shower in the evening. I don't have time to do anything for myself. I am lucky if I sometimes get a half an hour bath without falling asleep. Yesterday evening I snapped. I told him this was not the deal we had. I am done working nonstop and not having any me time. His response was, and I quote, "Your job is way easier. I am more stressed and too tired to do anything else after work. You are a woman, and you need to figure out how to do this." I wanted to scream, but I was too shocked. I told him he needs to reconsider what he just said and I expect an apology and a change in his behavior. I have not spoken a word to him since. AITA for expecting him to pull his weight, despite the fact that his job is more stressful than mine, especially if our salaries are actually the same. It's not like I earn less than him. He may be getting $100 more for a sale, but that is it. Top 5 comments. 1. NTA. Also, how is he a great dad if with you two having the same work schedule, you're the one picking up your son, feeding him, and putting him to bed? It sounds like he's probably just good at playing with him and not so much the day-to-day general child maintenance, parenting things. If you both work 9-5, you both have the same amount of time outside of work to contribute to the household. Even if your job is less stressful, that doesn't give you more time at home to cook, clean, parent, etc. If he's more stressed at work, he needs to learn some tactics for leaving relieving that stress at work and unwinding in a way that he can contribute toward the household that he also lives in. Obviously that you are a woman, and you need to figure this out. Nonsense is a load of sexist BS. He's a parent and an adult living in that house, so there's a lot he needs to figure out. 2. Absolutely NTA. He was working the same job before and doing the 50-50 just fine, right? If anything, it sounds like you do most of the kiddo stuff, so it should probably be more 60-40 with him doing more. It also really threw me off for how he said you're a woman, learn to do this, not cool. Def NTA. 3. You are NTA, and I really don't understand why you would even entertain the idea that you might be. If his job is that stressful, then he really needs to find a new employer, not take it out on you. 4. Oh, hell to the no. NTA, his job is harder. Nope, nope, nope. Too bad. That doesn't mean he gets to push everything onto you. Quit cooking his dinner, quit doing his laundry, quit cleaning his side of the sink. Take care of you and your child. Let his dishes pile up, and if they get too much for you, then move them to a space that he needs. There are times where everything shouldn't be split because one person is more stressed or has more going on. That is not a constant though. 5. Well, that may be the most sexist thing I read today, and I just read an AITA about a Muslim dude ratting out a friend cause she was at a club and had a beer to her mom. She's 22 and he couldn't get the sexist double standard. Your hubby really said you're the woman, figure it out. NTA and go nuclear. Weapons incompetence until he gets into the 21st century.